Hey, darling. Happy new moon in Cancer. I'm Vanessa Montgomery from Astro All-Starz. Let's have a little chat about one of the major aspects that came along with this moon, accompanying this moon. This is what I wrote on my Instagram about the variety of aspects this particular sun-moon lunation. New moon is when the sun and moon are conjunct together, and this time at 24 degrees Cancer. This new moon is opposite Pluto for the classic power struggle and trine Neptune in Pisces for some extra manifesting mojo. The reminder is to lean into empathy, kindness, and compassion. Perhaps avert mission and dissolve roadblocks rather than go head to head. Sextile Uranus suggests a surprise or to come up with a unique and out-of-the-box solution. Go Uranus. And square to Chiron in Aries is just a kick in the shins at the best of times. Independence and pioneering versus care, comfort, and fear of the unknown. Cancer doesn't really like new things. Find a place for both. So it's that opposition I want to talk about. So there were two really helpful, beneficial aspects with Neptune and Uranus. And then there was a really challenging one with Pluto and with Chiron. I want to talk about the Pluto opposition because this was fourth in a few oppositions coming through Cancer season. Since Pluto has been in Capricorn for years, and since 2008 actually, anything that goes into the opposite sign of Cancer at some point is going to oppose it. So there's Mercury every year, Venus every year, Mars every 2 years. So this year they happen pretty close together. We had Mars coming in to oppose Pluto from 0 Leo to 0 Aquarius, May 21 of this year. Then Venus came into oppose from 0 Leo, 0 Aquarius because it popped into Aquarius and now it's back, retrograded back into Capricorn, June 6th. 2023. And just recently we had Mercury at 29 Cancer opposing Pluto at 29 Capricorn because that's where it's popped back, July 11. So quite recently. And now we have the new moon, which was today, July 18th. I noticed the Mercury-Pluto opposition when my cousin said to me, what is going on in the cosmos? I'm like, just wait there, I'll have a look. So I had a look, I heard more stories, and I just looked back at the other oppositions that had come through. There's a big configuration that I think makes this more potent, which is that its square is also square the nodes, the north and south nodes. It's called at the bending when a planet makes the T-square to the north and south node because they're always exactly opposite each other. So it's going to make this triangle, and it's a very tense because it's a square aspect. They're sort of working against each other or at cross purposes. So I think that's why these have been extra. So that laid on to Jonah's chart, it really takes in his chart. So that south node currently is conjunct his natal Pluto. So it's all wrapped in there. It's fairly explosive. And the funny thing is the transiting Mercury is in his 7th house of relationships. So that's passing through that area. Venus is through there as well. His ascendant is Cancer. So then that moves into Leo. So late Cancer, earlier Leo, that's coming through from his relationship house, the 7th house. Astrology, it's amazing. I know. So Pluto is not fun. Plutonic themes. Pluto is about the underworld, what's hidden, what is taboo, what people don't want to know or see. It's about power. It's about power issues, manipulation. It's toxic. It's toxicity, but that has to come out. So often Pluto themes, think of Me Too, it's stuff that has to come out to heal. It's festery. It's better just to own it and get through it and clean it out. Owning it is often the best policy. So opposite to Mercury, that's explosive language or dominating language, things like that, or something that's come out into public, which is really interesting. This has been leaked. Really fits the astrology. So let's use this as a teaching moment, since that's exactly what Jonah Hill said about a prior slip up where he used a very aggressive sexualized homophobic slur towards a paparazzi. And he apologized effusively for it and said, let's use this as a teaching moment and you're welcome to refer to him. So we're referring back to him for his own slip up yet again. Let's look at his birth chart very, very quickly. First thing I saw is in some ways he's got a few points that are a little bit astro twin. Like my chart, so I was extra surprised. So he has a stellium in Sagittarius, Sun in late Sag, with Jupiter and Neptune in Sagittarius either side, which is what I've got, except I'm in the beginning of Sagittarius. And a couple of those are in his 12th house. So 12th house is great for acting. Neptune on his Sun with the Jupiter, great for acting. I actually said, who is Jonah Hill? I don't know who this is. And then I had a look at his movies. And of course, we've all seen him in heaps of different things. I've just didn't know who that was. Loved Wolf of Wall Street. Anyway, so that's really great. Awesome. But the 12th house really goes with what's happening now. It's very unaware. It's very the subconscious. It's very escapist. It's very beyond the self. So that unawareness of the self is very that placement of the Sun, Neptune, and the 12th house, if that makes sense. Then we look at Venus, which is how one is in relationships. It's in Scorpio, and it's not happy in Scorpio. You have those themes of betrayal, mistrust. It's very hard to trust anyone. So trust issues are quite big. Conjunct Saturn. And Saturn is a limiting, repressing factor. And it was interesting to see that's exactly what he was trying to do. Don't do this. Don't do that. If he had Jupiter on his Venus, he'd be like, go for it. It would be the opposite. It would be expansive. So Saturn is very contracting. So he's applying that to his partner rather than just learning real boundaries and applying it to himself. So the whole thing that people have been saying is he's been seeing a therapist. He made a whole show about it, and he used therapy speak for something that it was not really used. It didn't mean what he said. So he said he's exerting his boundaries when actually he's exerting control and trying to control this person who is he doesn't have agency over her. She has her own. So a boundary, let's look at that. A boundary would actually be what he posts on his social media. If she posted him on hers, he would be okay to say, I don't post pictures of me, but he can't tell her what to do with her own account. So of course, I'm thinking, why did he choose someone that surfs for a living? Why not choose a beekeeper or someone that has to wear protective clothing if that's the whole point? So the thing that he was attracted to her for, he tried to shut down. It's like he was attracted to the Sagittarius part of himself, projecting that onto her, and then went into this Venus-Saturn contraction situation. So it's interesting to look at the transits he was picking up. And he's in a few of his milestone transits all at once. His Neptune square Neptune, which is also square his Sun, so not really knowing what he's doing and who he is, sense of self, etc. It's actually a call to step up into the spiritual a little bit more. His Pluto is square his natal Pluto as well. So he's getting hit with a lot and he might want to not project that. Or why did Sarah Brady leave it till now? And I looked at the timeline because it looked very close. And well, she got pregnant maybe within 2 months of dating, maybe at a stretch 3. So there wasn't much time. And in some more texts prior to Sarah Brady, it was looking like he wanted to have a baby with her too. So to me, this is a real midlife crisis move. And they're both around 25 or 26. So very young and maybe easier to dominate or manipulate. But Sarah is a sportswoman and very smart. She was studying law. And so she's Marsy, sports Marsy. You're going to get aggressive. A Marsy woman or person is going to Mars back up at you. So I think this has really come around to bite him in the butt. So this is where it's very useful to have an astrologer to say, no, don't do that now. This is actually what these themes are about. And this is a better, higher road way of expressing them. What do you think? Have you had times like that? Anyway, this has been Vanessa Montgomery from Astro All-Stars.